Good afternoon and welcome back to another how to build. I wasn't too sure how to title this, so I just called it my style of lagoon because this is how I build my lagoons, which I've had a fair few comments recently asking how I make my style lagoon. Is it a mod? Things like this. But no, I don't use any mods at this moment in time, and it is all just me making it as were. So to start off with, especially when I'm making my island build lagoons, what I do is I bring the lagoon into the fake ocean. The way I do it, I basically do the guideline of my island, bring the land out, place the lagoons, and then bring the water right back up to the lagoon as much as I can without too much faffing around. So it doesn't have to be exactly right up to it because this is part of the build and the way I do things. So around the lagoon, I'll use the stone brush, and then what I'll do is a sand brush around that as well, just to make the area look shallow. And as you see already in the background, it is a tedious job, but I fill it with rocks. So we start off with the very large rocks and sporadically place those in corners in the middle and at the ends where it becomes like the land. And then in between those, we use like a medium rock and then go all the way around there. And then we go down another rock to like fill in any gaps that we've like made and missed. Try and keep things that it's pretty close together, pretty tight, because then we'll like, it doesn't matter if you leave the odd gap because we can keep filling with the smaller rocks as we get further down the list of our tropical rocks or whatever rock you're using at the time. And the idea behind this is a wave breaker. So obviously in the game it doesn't matter, but let's say you're keeping fish in there like the megalodon or Dunkleosteus. The thing is with fish, you need to keep a water parameter just right, that being pH or the different minerals in there, the salinity. Obviously, again, in the game, it doesn't really matter. You're not looking into that, so I haven't gone into that kind of depth. But if you add a little bit of realism to it, it kind of, you get a bit more out of the game. You can like decorate it more, add your own story to it. So let's say you were keeping those in there and you got waves crashing in, that's going to mess with your water parameters because the water in the lagoon might be different from the ocean surrounding it. So you really want to try and keep the majority of that water out, and the way we do this is with a wave breaker that I'm, as you can see, making there. So the waves will crash into that and then gradually get small and hopefully not pour over into our lagoon. But at the end of the day, for me, it's just really to have like a really interesting looking lagoon that kind of fits in with the rest of the island. Like I said, you add your own storytelling, you'll get more out of the game. But in all, when you zoom out, I think it looks cool to me personally. I know a few others like it. I don't know if everyone likes this style of design, but as you can see, it is a tedious job and does take a while. Anyways, as well, I'm going to show you how, one of the ways anyways, I decorate the staff area, because sometimes when I make these lagoons, especially in sandbox, you don't need keepers going to check it, so you can just put your hatchery and then delete it afterwards once you've got your creatures in there. But that's down to like personal choice. But in this build, I'm going to keep it and we're going to make a staff area. So I like adding the towers to the around the edges of the lagoons. Like staff can stand up there, look into the lagoon, see where the marine creatures are, and also how they're doing. I had like a little security camera there as well, where they can use that to also keep an eye on the lagoon creatures. Add a few lights knocking about so the staff can see where they are. And as well, I like using blue shipping containers. Obviously, you can use any kind of colour, but I just associate that more with the lagoons. As well, I make this little parking bay for our crane, which can lift the shipping containers in and do various other things. Like again, you got to add that storytelling. You add these canisters here as well, as they could be where they house some of the chemicals for water. Again, more storytelling. And then I do like using this little building here as like little decorational building, as like almost where they walk into, and that's where they deal with the chemicals and add the chemicals into the water before like keeping those water parameters. I just had those there for like a little bit of security. Obviously, they do nothing, but it looks like a way that the security guys can keep an eye on who's coming in and out. And then I just sparsely decorated trees because we don't want too much. I just quickly as well, this is how I just one in many ways that I do the sort of like guest area. I like doing rock gardens around lagoons. Don't know why, I just really do. But one of my favourite ways of doing these rock gardens is I'll use this food brush here because I really like the kind of trees on there and the little plants that look kind of decorative. And I like using the Malta rocks as they're pretty white and they kind of like limestone look to them. And around like in the UK there is a lot of like sea life in limestone deposits, so it kind of goes in with that sort of like lagoon vibe. And I like using the Malta walls because it's a bit of decorative, they're not too tall, it gives that sort of like small kind of garden feel. Also I'll block that bit off so I have a rough idea how to try and get it so it's almost similar to the other side. I never quite ever manage it, but I do try my best at least. And then I'll add a few more rocks, a few more plants that the wall got rid of. And then around the wall I use like a dirt brush so it looks like they're keeping weeds and plants from growing up the wall and on the wall. I kind of see that a fair bit, especially in like certain gardens where they make sure there's no plants growing up in walls. You don't want the wall getting damaged by plant roots and things like that. And it's a really nice simple build, and it takes a little bit. I think this took me about half an hour to do, especially with the rocks. And another question I may as well answer that a lot of people ask is, what is my favourite lagoon creature? And that was the Shonisaurus. My favourite creature in the real world is the Liplorodon, but in the game this is a showstopper. Anyway, thank you for watching.